Hello YouTube, it is July 1st. I know I'm behind on these videos, but I started my first day of work, orientation week. Had to get up early this morning, and I had to prep for that this weekend. So that's why I'm backed up on the debate video. But I'm finally here to give the debates. I know it's a little bit late, but like I said, I had to prepare for this job that I finally got into today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I got my notes down. It's going to be quite lengthy. So starting off with the part, all the contenders for the debate in no particular order. We had Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke or Robert O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, Johnny Delaney, Tulsi Gabbard, Julian Castro, Bill de Blasio, Jay Inslee, and Tim Ryan. So I just wrote down all the key points that highlight that I just thought was worth noting. So first we got into O'Rourke against raising the marginal rate on the rich to 70%, which he scored a point for me. Y'all know I've already mentioned that I'm against Mr. Senator I'm in House of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with the 70% tax rate on the rich. I don't believe in penalizing somebody who's earned their wealth or even been inherited to wealth, like to the tune of 70%. That's ridiculous. I do believe in paying a fair share, but why does the fair share has to be over the majority? That's just morally wrong to charge anybody more than 50% of what they actually earn, and especially in a government where you showing that you under both Democrat and Republican rule cannot properly darn on disperse the money to where it needs to go. So why are you wanting to tax somebody to such a rate and you haven't come up with no clear, concise plans of how to use said person's money? I'd rather, the person is able to use it to donate on their own devices. That's just my personal opinion. I believe that at the most, people who are making over $20 million should be charged a 50% tax rate, and that's it. Um, yeah, if you're making over $20 million, a 50% marginal tax rate, and then if you're making over 50 million, additional 2%, wealthy rate, like Elizabeth Warren wants to propose. So 52% for people making more than $50 million. That is it. I don't believe in no darn on 60, 70, 90%. That's ridiculous. Um, but Cory Booker and O'Rourke did go back and forth in Spanish. A lot of people was making memes that it was Telemundo, and then they was darn on chopping up the darn on Spanish. It was an insult to darn on Hispanics everywhere because it's like, bitch, neither one of y'all Hispanic. The only darn on Hispanic person up there was darn on not speaking that much Spanish at all, and that was Julian Castro. Y'all speaking more darn on Spanish than the darn on Asian Puerto Rican that actually is darn on Hispanic, but neither here nor there. Then we got into, um, but that was later on. I forgot. I put that. I had. Anyways, Corey gets called out on going against Warren on breaking up Facebook and Amazon. I do believe that there should be some minuscule breaking up. I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, hell, Walmart's taking over everything. Amazon's darn gonna cancel out everything. Hell, Walmart's coming out with their own ride sharing program. They coming out with their own delivery services and all that to circumvent the DoorDash and all of those people. Then you got them as the largest employer. Then you got them darn on partnering with so many other stuff to get your stuff directly from their website. They truly is becoming the one stop shop. So it's like breaking up Facebook and Amazon. It's like, hell, that's darn on unfair because then you got to go into all these Walmart and everything else. Why just pick on two companies, especially when they ain't necessarily, well, they are among the largest, but it's like you got to be fair across the board. So I'm somewhat with Cory Book on that. There should be some more looking into to the degree of how you would go by breaking up Facebook and Amazon without it being a disadvantage to other people who are doing the same thing. I mean, without it being an advantage to other people who are doing the same thing. You can't punish two companies when there are several other companies, like I mentioned, who are doing the same thing, trying to monopolize the market. Next thing is we got Tulsi Gabbard, only candidate to serve in the military as a major. She mentioned that throughout the whole night. Um, Numero sync for my talking for the bullet points I put down. Bill de Blasio gets called out on being mayor of a city that has the greatest wealth gap. I mean, okay, that's to be expected. New York City, he's not well liked. Now he's going up for president, and his thing that people are pointing out is if you can't even manage a city, how is you going to manage the country? So, what are y'all thoughts about that? Me personally, darn gone, Bill De Blasio wasn't even in my top five anyway, so it was like, But then he clapped back and mentioned that they was among the first states to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. He's there gonna put he's putting restrictions on ride sharing where they have to pay a fair rate and can't get away with lowballing their drivers and everything. So he's done the best for what New York can do. It's like New York is just a high dollar town anyway. So under the circumstances, he has proven to try to do his best. But y'all leave y'all thoughts down below on Bill de Blasio. But then he also mentions he's for taxing. So that's just the liberals on the panel. Everybody's for taxing the darn on rich at 70%. Like I said, personally, I'm not here for punishing rich people for making their money, whether they inherit it or not. I think, a fair 50% tax at best is what I would go for. And that's only for people making over $20 million. I don't think you should compare somebody making a $5 million to somebody making over $20 million a year. So next thing is we got Elizabeth Warren and Mayor De Blasio, only candidates to raise their hand to abolish private insurance. Once again, I think that's another very out there liberal thing. Should we have Medicare for all? Yes, but should it be at the expense of monopolizing it? No, because what happens when you monopolize something? Now you don't have no options, and now that you giving the government free reign to dictate uh, what they can allow as a deductible, and what's stopping them as Republicans from getting in office years down the road. See, you're looking at it from the immediate perspective of when Democrats are in office, but you got to realize that Republicans are going to get back in there sometime after Democrats take back over, and what's stopping them from doggone raising the prices sky high? And there's nothing that you can do at this point because now you done made it so the market is darn gone monopolized. So I'm not for eradicating competition, but what I am for is a combination of both. It's like you can, and some of the candidates did mention that you can have Medicare for all, and have it at a fair price, which by default will cause the other companies to have to darn on drive their prices down to compete. That's where I'm more so for. If they want to keep their private insurance and they offer better insurance than what the government is giving, they should have that option. Because by common sense, nobody's going to be paying $300-$400 for this, and the government's offering more for less. So by default, the darn on insurance companies that are price gouging people will have to stop their price gouging practices, and at the minimum meet the bare be able to price match what the government is offering, thus reducing the over price gouging and increasing fair competition across the board without it being at the expense of the customer. That's my 2 cents on that. I'm not for completely eliminating private insurance, but I do think Medicare for all as a extra incentive out there for all Americans, because health care should be a birthright, and there should be some basic medical needs that the government should be able to provide for their people for free, especially if we're the richest nation in the world. So then from there, Delaney mentions Medicare for all rates will close down hospitals. Uh, Okay, somewhat of a valid point. But then, like I said, I don't see that really happening because what can happen is with enough crooked Democrats and Republicans, they could just skyrocket the Medicare price. Now, at the current Medicare rate, I can understand um, hospitals being able to get closed down based off of the Medicare out of pocket expense that they charge. But with the pharmaceutical industry, I don't see them shutting down hospitals because with big farm, we are in an industry, and I love how Marion Williamson brought this up later on about how and people think she's cuckoo because she thinks with a certain personality. We're going to get to her in a moment on her personality and how only a certain type of people can actually understand what she's saying. But she actually hit a point on how America is a country that thrives off the sickness, and we so much worried about who's going to pay for the health care, but we not wondering about why people have all these sicknesses anyway. We're the darn old richest nation in the world, but we lead in the highest obesity. We have all these artificial darn on chemicals in our darn on products and stuff, and we wonder why people are suffering from fertility issues, darn on autoimmune diseases, everything else. She was hitting on a lot of key points on what is causing people to have to darn on go to the darn on doctor in the first place. But people darn on was classifying her as woo woo, so they darn on overlooked all that shit. But yeah, as far as private insurance, I mean government ran insurance exclusively shutting down the hospitals, I wouldn't see it as shutting down the hospital because the big pharmaceutical industry wouldn't allow that to happen. I see that the people will darn gonna end up having to pay out more if it's exclusive because then now you monopolize the market. I don't see the hospital shutting down because that's how you know big pharma makes their money. So if you shut down all the hospitals left and right, that's shutting down the medical corruption in America. Big pharmacy ain't having that. Oh, now this was one thing that pissed me off though. Julian Castro, I understand that it was Pride Month, and I understand that y'all all trying to pander to LGBT, and some of y'all are serious, some of y'all are not. Um, but one thing, and I wish who was the or was he on the second night? Let me see if no, Pete Judberg was on the second night of debates. Honey, it wouldn't have paid for Pete Buttigieg or Pete Judberg to been on that panel to call him out on that hypocrisy of bringing up trans women where it didn't need to be brought up. And I'm glad darn gone Cory Booker got in his motherfucking ass. Like you know damn well trans women cannot naturally give birth to children. You know damn well we don't got no motherfucking ovaries, bitch. How much we would like to, honey, back to life, back to reality. Bitch, you know damn well us trans women don't got no motherfucking darn gone ovaries, no darn gone period or whatever. So what business did Julian Castro have mentioning, oh well, we also need to make sure trans women have the right of abortion too. And everybody was clapping to that stupid shit. Just throwing words together to make it sound cute. But no, bitch, you was darn on pandering, and that darn on shit didn't motherfucking fly. It didn't fly with me. Now it was like, no, bitch. Now you darn on trying to be motherfucking darn on cute and trying to over pander to your detriment. Because you know damn well birth issues don't have nothing to do with trans women. And trans men who are definitely not trying to get pregnant in the first place. They actually are converting into Tinky Winky. So what and they're removing the ovaries. So where is the darn gone baby going to come out of for trans men? That's what you. It would have been a better argument if you was trying to say trans men have the right to abortion too, because trans men actually have the ovaries that get removed. Trans women, they're still working on trying to make ovaries and stuff for us. Now, when they do, honey, don't darn gonna holler back at Pt1 on that, honey. Pt1 ain't birthing no children, honey. I have a surrogate for mine, honey. I'm already planning on going to the darn bank, putting my darn juice on lock for the time being, and then I give y'all updates on that down the road about the mini diva wands, honey. But it won't be coming out of this womb, baby. or no room that they darn gonna create, honey. Let another trans woman tell that motherfucking story. But Julian Castro, yeah, the bitch, you pandered and it was wrong. Admit to the bullshit. Now you was over. Now you just darn gonna fuck. I'm surprised nobody called him out on that damn shit. Like really, trans women, bitch, darn gone with abortion issue. That's a whole video within itself. And like I said, just pandering doing darn gone Pride Month. Like I said, and then Booker gets asked by. Oh wait a minute, that's out of context. I don't know why I didn't write down Booker's comeback about black trans women and how we are often annoyed and not mentioned. You mentioned trans women in general, but when we look at the media and the representations and shit, it's only white and Latina trans. You don't mention about the high rates of suicides and homicides that are going on in the black trans community. So shout out to Cory Booker for actually getting it right. And that's how you can tell sincerity from motherfucking pandering. Once again, Cory Booker sincerity and actually researching what goes on in the trans community versus somebody who's just trying to throw out something that sounds motherfucking cute for the motherfucking people that aren't gonna get riled up for. But anyways, then Cory Booker gets asked a big farm question. He refused to take PAC money. That would have been a good time for people to clap back and ask them about all the PAC money they took back in the past, though, and now you're not taking PAC money only because you're being called out on it. Then Castro mentions immigration reform for Pacific Hispanic countries, and that's another thing that pissed me the fuck off because it's like it's already implied that y'all only fuck with Hispanics when it comes to this dreamer shit. Because y'all ain't talking about motherfucking Haitians and Africans when y'all talking about this. Half the darn on time y'all was speaking in motherfucking darn on Spanish to the point where people thought they accidentally turned to Telemundo, bitch. Like Telemundo already have the translators on in real time to translate the darn on debates. They did not need y'all speaking the darn on Spanish. And it's like, hell, y'all is not motherfucking Spanish speaking that y'all doing up here. And especially Cory Booker, it's like, bitch, you don't know no Kiswahili. Like, once again, African community being overlooked. You talking about darn gone dreamers being in cages. Well, hell, at least they darn gone getting. I hate to be a bitch about this shit, but at least they darn gone getting darn gone games to play with. They got darn gone linens and all this, that, and the third about to be darn gone afforded to them. Wayfair tried to hold out on giving them the furniture. They done got called out. But meanwhile, you got Sadansi people in motherfucking slavery in 2019. You got motherfucking Libya in slavery in 2019. And nobody mentions about all this darn on uniformity with dreamers and shit and act like black people included in that. But the Afro Latinas, word on the street from what I'm hearing, are not getting accepted in compared to their more stereotypical run of the mill looking Spanish counterpart. Y'all not letting in the Afro Latinas that look like me. Y'all not letting in the Africans who are trying to come, who are actually going through a legitimate crisis that would warrant an asylum. They actually going through motherfucking slavery. They are going through slavery in 2019, and yet there has not been not one mention from one candidate about Libya and Darngon Sudan practicing in slavery in 2019 of African people, and the African people cannot even run here to America because Ecuador, Honduras, and all those countries that Darngon Julian Castro said he's going to grant special privileges to are not allowing the Africans in. So once again, where's the fairness? You speaking, everybody speaking Spanish, and darn gone talking about protecting darn gone Pacific Hispanic countries. y'all showcasing nothing but darn on Mexican people in the cages, but then y'all don't show nothing about the Haitians darn on getting kicked out. Y'all don't show nothing about the darn on Libyans and Sudanese people going through slavery and darn on drowning through a whole, like you darn on drowning it. And I hate to say this, and I ain't trying to minimize the death of the little boy and the father. But imagine how many Africans drowned trying to get through a whole ocean to get to another continent for darn on safety. Because they people are being darn on slaughtered and darn on sold out by the thousands. And as people who are Mexican who are suffering, how dare you then turn around and still practice in racism by not darn on allowing a fellow marginalized group who's also suffering, actually far worse than you? How dare you not allow them to darn on come here and try to pursue the same American dream that you trying to pursue, trying to escape from the hell that you coming from? So you going through the bullshit in Ecuador and Honduras and Mexico talking about drug dealers and all this, that, and the motherfucker third, but then you still had the audacity to darn on deny a black person coming in who's trying to escape an even worse atrocity. And then you wonder why black people feel some type of motherfucking way. And don't nobody address it. So that shit pissed me all the way the fuck off within itself. That darn gone nobody's mentioning the darn gone Africans who are going through worse atrocities. And this whole night about immigration was only towards Hispanic folks, like nobody else ain't trying to come here as well. But anyways, going on from the slavery, we'll talk about that in another video as well. Tulsi Gabbard gives her professional opinion on war with Iran. Okay. And then going into hour 2, honey, darn on, I was with Donald Trump this night on this comment. It's like NBC. You as darn gonna running the presidential debates to darn gonna potentially show us the next upcoming president of the United States if they are fortunate enough to beat Donald Trump. These are people who have raised millions of dollars in darn gone campaign funds. This is the most historical moment as far as politics, as far as showcasing the debates. And y'all can't even get y'all motherfucking mics together. If we hear the darn on previous moderators and over the mics, and everybody else still trying to struggle to hear the question, but they darn on hearing the darn on other darn on people instead. Honey, just some darn on tacky motherfucking shit. Some tacky bullshit, NBC. But anyways, moving on from that motherfucking crap. So after they went to commercial break, no, wasted three more of our darn on time. That's 3 minutes that the people could have been answering darn on questions. But needless to say, they wasted 3 minutes having to go to yet another commercial because of the fact that they had mic issues. They don't do no sound check days in advance for this. Like, really? But anyways, after the mic issues, they went back on the gun buyback program and protections. I'm half and half on that. Bill de Blasio mentions running the largest police force in America. I wouldn't darn on utilize that as a compliment, considering that darn on New York, like Chicago, is known as one of the most corrupt. Then it's known for that blue wall of silence. So it's like you can't mention darn on New York police like they darn on Fayetteville's finest. Like now, if you was talking about Fayetteville, North Carolina police, who actually know how to follow the laws without darn on practicing in racism in the Bible Belt, and darn gonna know how to carefully analyze the differences in tone between black people and white people, and know that just because my voice is naturally more loud and I sound more urban, I'm not a threat. Just because my hair is kinkier, or if I had a wider nose, I'm not seemingly more threatening. Now that would have been a good compliment if darn on New York was like Fayetteville's finest. But bitch, when you darn on up there in the top 10 of most corrupt darn on police forces in the nation, I wouldn't have utilized you. I wouldn't even darn on dare had the audacity to mention that you oversee the largest police force in the darn on nation. Honey, that was more of a negative towards you than a motherfucking positive, bitch. And then, to make matters worse, honey, he then had the audacity to bring up the black card, talking about he raising a black son. A biracial son, number one. Number two, a biracial son who's growing up with the mayor of the darn on town that he lives in a high class neighborhood. Your son, you cannot use your son as a darn on person to act like you can relate to what the average black, full black person is going through who's actually living in the slums. Your son, by default of being your child, actually has armed security and everything else. So even if he was being called every type of nigga and everything else, mulatto and all that, ain't nobody is risking to touch the darn on mayor's son. So that really rubbed me the wrong way that he mentioned his biracial son as if the doggone son can relate to any type of atrocities that the average black person or even the average biracial person in the hood is growing up with. Like your doggone son is not at no type of doggone danger. Because at any time that your son is placed in danger, you have a whole security team for your doggone child. The average black person don't have that type of luxury. Like I just said, you have black people that can't even darn go through Ecuador to even get to the United States, and Ecuadorians are darn coming here talking about they suffering from darn hardship and that we should have some sympathy for them, but they're not even having sympathy for people who going through worse off than what they going through. You darn blocking your darn country borders from Africans getting in, and they not even trying to darn settle in your darn country. They just trying to pass by to get to us like you trying to get to us. But y'all so motherfucking low down and grimy collectively overall as darn Hispanic countries. Y'all not even allowing Africans to even so much as come into y'all borders and darn just pass through y'all borders. They not even trying to take up space in your darn land. Because you're not even trying to take up space in your land. But you're going to block them from even so much as darn passing through your darn borders. But then you want to throw a bitch fit about darn Donald Trump talking about build the wall. Now, I'm not for the motherfucking wall. However, I will say this. Now, bitch, you can't darn be fully up on here talking shit about Trump your damn self. And you the darn main one practicing the hypocrisy as a collective over on your own country. You darn not allowing darn Africans to come too, and y'all not speaking up on behalf of African people. But you coming here and you getting all these darn expedited darn benefits and stuff afforded to you. You darn making it so somebody can't even ask for your motherfucking ID. In some cases, a darn Mexican has it better off than a poor white and a black person. Because a poor darn white suspect gets darn stopped, honey, you can ask for ID. A black person gets stopped, you get asked for ID. Honey, you ask a Mexican for ID. Honey, you might be riding up on some darn HIPAA charges. But the same thing don't apply for people who are African, though. I would love for one of these motherfuckers to get called out on that double standard. But anyways, after he darn tried to mention the darn black card, then you had candidates all asked could they get a Senate bill passed by Senate Leader Mitch McConnell. And it's like I'd be so glad when that motherfucker. I hope his ass ain't even in the office for this to even be a potential darn question, cause that motherfucker darn had the audacity. I mean, it just gets so much worse for black people, and then y'all wonder why we stay darn angry. To be relatively conscious in a darn America is to be in a fit of rage at all times, bitch. I will quote the darn original person who said that. But it's like, honey, first you got African people going through worse struggles than Hispanics, and they can't even darn be granted freedom to even go through the countries to go through Hispanic countries to even get to us. Meanwhile, you have Julian Castro only mentioning trans people as a way to throw in a talking point, knowing damn well trans women don't have no fertility issues. Then, on top of that, you have darn gone. I mean, it's just so much, it don't make no motherfucking sense. I done lost my train of thought on that. But then you had Mitch McConnell talking about darn President Obama serves as reparations. And I done got in his ass, and y'all can see the video down below how I done mentioned how how in the hell does a half African, half white president serves as reparations for American descendants of enslaved Africans when the blackness in him does not even descend from American black DNA? Is he darn on American born? Yes. But you know damn well when people talk about black American, it's somebody who descends from multiple generations of darn on blackness that can lead back to chastise slavery. Not no motherfucking darn on person who can immediately trace their ancestry back to the continent or the motherfucking islands. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on getting darn on Kamala Harris together too on her black ancestry. And I'm going to loop it in with this darn on false comparison to President Obama, who even though he is not a black American, he is still a half black person because once again, race and culture is interchangeable when it comes to this topic, and I'm going to break that down in a whole nother video because I'm getting sick and tired of this confusion with people not understanding that in certain contexts the word black is not referring to race, is actually referring to a culture of people, and people act like words don't have multifaceted meanings, but we're going to break that down in a whole nother video. But after that darn old debacle, then you had Governor Inslee get asked about climate change. Once again, I told y'all I'm not fully for that Green New Deal. $90 trillion is motherfucking ridiculous. It's like $90 trillion. Really, bitch? Like, can we just start with the basics? Like, can we start with just reduce, reuse, recycle? You worried about darn on emissions? Like, it really don't cost that much to darn on change certain stuff over. And then number two, if you take this to a global front, maybe if America stopped darn on throwing stuff in third world countries that don't have the technology to properly darn on recycle these darn on plastic bottles to the point where you have India, they have so much plastic in their water that it's more plastic shown in the water than there is water. And then they having all types of sewage backups and stuff. Darn on trash being built in the streets and stuff in Africa and in India by way of us dumping our trash there because we don't dump so much in our own country that we darn on already overflow. So how about if we start with that? Being able to take care of our own trash first instead of dumping the problem off into other countries and then acting like we want to be for a Green New Deal, but ain't nobody addressed how you're still dumping doggone trash onto other countries. But neither here nor there. Then Gabbard gets called out on her flip-flopping on LGBT. And rightfully so. I don't got, like I said, that bitch ain't in my top 5 either, so I'm not even going to waste my breath on her. I don't see her making it that far. She did not have nothing that really stood out. She didn't bring any points. Now, I know not everybody's popular, and it shouldn't be a popularity contest because Marion Williamson is not popular. However, she's bringing darn on valid points, even in her crazy way. And granted, Marion Williamson is on night 2. We will talk about her on a different day. But she's bringing the points. Andrew Yang at first wasn't popular, but he's bringing the points. Jay Inslee, not popular, but he actually brought up some points. Castro is actually gaining up there. But this darn gonna Tulsi Gabbard, girl, bye. And then that's it. Oh, wait a minute. Is there a whole nother one? Oh, wait a minute. I got some more, y'all. Then we're going to end it on out. Oh, no, that's it, y'all, because I mentioned about Cory Booker highlighting the black trans community earlier. And actually, he did do that as a clapback to Tulsi Gabbard. Earlier, old boy mentioned about black trans women and fertility. And then Cory Booker got into his ass along the same time that Tulsi Gabbard got questioned about her flip-flopping on the community. So he got both of them together in one swoop talking about how you can't darn go serve on a committee and think that you for the people. All of a sudden, you done hop your ass on a gay pride community within the past 3 years, and that darn on erases all the darn on shit that you done did. You ain't darn gonna truly darn gonna passing nothing for the darn gonna be. You're not darn gonna go into the communities. You're not actually speaking with people. You just darn gonna serving on a darn gonna community that nobody of the community really appointed your ass to. You done hop your ass on your own continents, and now you think you doing something. So Cory Booker got both their ass together on that. But overall, who I think won the night out of all of them, Elizabeth Warren was the best prepared person on both nights. Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren was the only ones that wrote specific rebuttals for they fellow candidates responses, and it served out the best. So on the actual debate, who won as far as the debates go, it was definitely Elizabeth Warren and Senator Kamala Harris, and we'll get into why Kamala Harris won on night 2 in another video. Now on overall policies, who am I liking the best out of this? Nobody really impressed me that much. I mean, I like that Cory Booker threw in some points, but however, he's still overall flawed. I would have to go with Elizabeth Warren overall, even though I'm not for that 70% darn on tax on the rich. I'm not for completely privatizing insurance. But everything else, I'm still leaning more towards Elizabeth Warren than all these other people. Now, this is just for her night. Now, I'm not comparing her to overall. But yeah, she definitely won it for me on this particular night. Yeah, nobody else came close. Castro, Klobuchar, anybody else. Night 2 was more interesting, to say the least. Elizabeth Warren really didn't have no competition except for Cory Booker, Julian Castro, and Bill de Blasio, and surprisingly, Jay Inslee and Beto O'Rourke. Everybody else was not really that much no competition. But those are my thoughts. Y'all leave y'all thoughts down below. What are y'all thoughts on this shit right here? Especially with the dreamers coming in and feeling some type of way about Trump talking about build a wall, um, and we should have open borders. But at the same time, you won't even allow darn on people in your country to even to pass through your borders. Not even the darn gonna take up no space for no time. But you won't even so much as allow them to come through your borders. But you trying to come through our borders open and freely. Now I'm not for the damn wall, but once again, I'm not for doggone annoying hypocrisy when I see it. So y'all leave y'all thoughts down below on that. Overall on what y'all thoughts on night 1's debates, and I will see y'all soon with more videos. Mwah.